for reading in English translation, and Mamta Mataji will be reading Sanskrit, and they'll be reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24.
Sorry, Mataji, can you repeat?
Verses 17 to 32. Also today, towards the end of the session, we have Hema Mataji who will be singing a beautiful bhajan called Vibhavari Shesha, and the English translation will be read by Sailesh Prabhuji. Mataji, please start with the invocation. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving me this opportunity to recite these verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24, verses 17 to 32. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगेन कर्मणा बुद्धरञ्जटाः हिरण्यकेश पद्माक्षः पद्ममुद्रा पदाम्बुजः.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mataji, can I read, yeah?
Yes, Mataji,
Yes,
please start.
Yeah. By mighty yoga and the practical application of knowledge from the scripture, Kapila Muni, who is characterized by his golden hair, his eyes just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bear the marks of lotus flower, will uproot the deep root desire for work in this miracle world, material world. Sorry.
एष मानविते गर्भं प्रविष्ट कैटभार्दनः अविद्या संशयग्रन्थिं छित्त्वा गां विचरिष्यति.
Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitiba, is within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world.
अयं सिद्धगणाधीश सांख्याचार्यै सुसम्मतः लोके कपिल इत्याख्यां गन्ता ते कीर्तिवर्धनः.
Your son will be the head of all the perfect souls. He will be approved by the acharyas, expert in the disseminating real knowledge. And among the people, he will celebrate by the name Kapila as the son of Devahuti. He will increase your fame.
मैत्रे उवाच तावाशावस्य जगत्पृष्ठा कुमारैः सह नारदः हंसो हंसेन यानेन त्रिधाम परमं ययौ.
Sri Maitreya said after the speaking of Kardama, Kardama Muni and his wife uh, Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back the highest of the three planetary system on his swan carrier with with the four Kumars and Naranda. Sorry, Mataji. Narada?
Yes, ma'am.
Narada.
गते शतधृतौ शतः कर्दमस्तेन चोदितः यथोदितं स्वधृतः श्रुतिः प्रादाद्विश्वसृजां ततः.
O Vidra, after the departure of the Brahma, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahma handed over his 9 daughters as in, instructed to the 9 great sage who create the population of the world.
But I don't know where they are. I don't know where they're reading from.
मरीचये कलां प्रादादनसूयामथात्रये श्रद्धामं मङ्गिरसे यच्छत् पुलस्त्याया यहविर्भुवम् पुलहाय गतिं युक्तां क्रतवे च क्रियां सतीं ख्यातिं च भृगवे यच्छद् वसिष्ठाठायाप्यरुन्धतीम्.
Sorry, Mataji, can you? Yeah. Kardama Muni handed over his daughter Kala to Mercy and another daughter to Ansuya to Atri. He delivered Shraddha to Angira and Heavy Heavybu to Pulatya. He delivered Gati to Pulaha, the chest Kriya, to Kratu and Kayakti, to Bargu and Ardunit. Sorry, Mataji, how to pronounce this?
Arundhati.
Arunati. To Vasvita. Sorry for pronunciation.
अथर्वणे ददाच शान्तिं यया यज्ञो वितन्यते विप्रर्षभान् कृतोद्वाहान् सदारान् समलालयत्.
He delivered Santi to Urthava because of the Santi sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. Those he got the foremost Brahmans married and maintained them along with their wives.
ततस्त ऋषयः शत्त कृतदारा निमन्त्र्य तं प्रातिष्ठन्नान् नन्दिमापन्ना स्वां स्वमाश्रममण्डलम्.
Those married the sage took leave of Karmanda and departed full of joy, each for his own hermitage, O Vidruva.
स चावतीर्णम् त्रियुगमाज्ञाय विबुद्धर्षभम् विविक्त उपसंगम्य प्रणम्य समभाषत.
When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu had descendant, uh, Kardama approached him a scheduled place, scheduled place, offered obeisances and spoken the followers.
अहो पापच्यमानानां निरये स्वैरमङ्गलैः कालेन भूयसा नूनं प्रसीदन्तीह देवताः.
Kardama Muni said, "Oh, after the long time, the demigods of this universe have become placed with the suffering souls who are in material intelligent intelligent because of their own misdeeds deeds misdeeds."
बहुजन्म विपक्वेन सम्यग्योग समाधिना द्रष्टुं यतन्ते यतयः शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्.
After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, uh, endeavor in scheduled place to see the lotus feet of the supreme personality of the Godhead.
स एव भगवानद्य हेलनं न गणन्ययनः गृहेषु जातो ग्राम्याणां यस्वानां पक्षपोषणः.
Not considering in the neg- negli- negli- negligence,
Negligence,
sorry Mataji,
negligence.
negligence of ordinary householder, uh, like like us, that a very same supreme personality of the Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees.
स्वीयं वाक्यामृतं कर्तुमवतीर्णो सि मे गृहे चिकीर्षु शुर्भगवान् ज्ञानं भक्तानां मानवर्धनः.
Uh, Kardama Muni said, "You, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, have a descend, descendant in my home just to fulfill fulfill your word and dis, dis, disseminate the purpose of real knowledge."
तान्येव तेभिरूपाणि रूपाणि भगवंस्तव यानि यानि च रोचन्ते स्वजना नामरूपिणः.
My dear Lord, although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms. They truly are your transcendental dental forms, which are pleasing to your devotees.
त्वां सुरेभ्यस्तत्त्व बुभुत्स्याद्वा सदा विवादार्हणपादपीठम् ऐश्वर्यवैराग्य यशोवबोध वीर्य श्रिया पूर्तमहं प्रपद्ये.
My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the receivers that always deserves to receive worship, homage from all great sage, eager to eager to sorry eager to understand the absolute truth. You are full in opulence, um, renews renews. Sorry, Mataji, can you pronounce this?
Renunciation.
Sorry, Mataji.
Renunciation.
Renunciation and transcendental fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty. And therefore, I surrender myself unto your lotus feet. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please forgive us for our mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mataji, ji, any pronunciation mistaken. Thank you, Mataji. Correct me whenever I need your help. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna and forgive me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll just quickly check how you can see the screen, okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much, Agruti Mataji and Mamta Mataji for reciting the English and the Sanskrit for the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to today's chat class. My name is Krishna Govind Dasa. Today is the 11th of January, 2026. And today we're going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the status quo. And the verse that we're reading today will be verses 14 and 16. The chapter is 24, the renunciation of Kadama Muni. Okay, I'll just set my screen properly. As unusual, I've got another camera screen coming up. So you can definitely see the
Hare
image.
Krishna. I can't see it, Prabhuji. Sorry.
You can't see it, okay.
Prabhuji, we can't see.
Okay, let me share it again. Oh, sorry, I forgot to click on share. Okay,
Now it's
now,
clear.
Yeah.
right. I was wondering why the second screen was coming up with my video screen. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskripcha Naram Chaiva Narotanam. Devam Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Ashtashva Bhadreshu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatamutam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtake. So, Canto 3, chapter 24, verse 14. Imadhuitara satyas tava vatsa samadhyamaha sagamitam prabhave swe prema yasyanti anekada. Translation. Lord Brahma then praised Kadama Muni's 9 daughters, saying, all your thin-waist daughters are certainly very chaste. I'm sure they will increase as creation by their own descendants in various ways. Put by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The beginning of creation, Brahma was concerned more or less with increase in the population. When he saw that Kadama Muni had already begotten 9 nice daughters, he was hopeful that through the daughters, many children would come who would take charge of the creative principle of the material world. He was therefore happy to see them. The word Samadhyama means a good daughter of a beautiful woman. If she has a thin waist, a woman is considered very beautiful. All the daughters of Kadama Muni were of the same beautiful feature. So just recite the Mangalacharan prayers. Please join in. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Shtapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shivishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sata Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpaturu Vyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I'd like to offer my respectful obeisances and seek the blessings of my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Churu Swami. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Shimanti Bhakti Churu Swami Thinamane. To seek the blessings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Shimanti Bhaktivedanta Swami Thinamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Prachayane. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyacha Desatana. Also kindly seek in the blessings of all the listeners. Please bestow your courses mercy so that I may be able to recite or speak about the wonderful topics from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may be truthful, pleasing, and beneficial. Thank you. So just to recap, Lord Brahma then praised Kadama Muni's 9 daughters, saying, all your thin-waisted daughters are certainly very chaste. I'm sure they will increase as creation by their own descendants in various ways. So just a little summary of the background from this particular chapter and the previous chapter. Kadama Muni always wanted to be self-realized. He wanted to take that path of renunciation. And in doing so, Lord Brahma accepted his offer, but as long as he was happy, Lord Brahma, Swayambhuva Manu, was accepted Kadama Muni's proposal, but please, would you kindly marry my daughter? That was Devahuti. So Devahuti was taking care of Kadama Muni while he was carrying on with his regular devotional service, but in due course of time, over time, she neglected herself, she neglected her body, she didn't eat properly, she became very thin, became very frail, became very weak. And Kadama Muni realized, wow, she's served me so much. What can I do to serve you back again in return? And of course, she was happy just serving her husband, but yet still, Kadama Muni, because he was considered to be as glorious as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he actually bestowed a beautiful floating palace for Devahuti, and this particular palace was no ordinary palace. It was decorated with jewels, ornaments, all the luxurious facilities one could ever imagine, or not even been able to imagine. Had thousands and thousands of maid servants to take care of Devahuti. And she also desired to have children as well, because she knew that Kadamba Muni, her husband, would be leaving very soon. So she wanted to make sure she was also taken care of, and the maidservants took care of her, made her back to her normal state, as beautiful as she was as before, as a princess, as a daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. And by the mercy of Kadamba Muni, 9 beautiful daughters were born. And she was, of course, very extremely happy, but she also desired to have a son. And during this time, when she gave birth to the 9 beautiful daughters when they were grown, and Lord Brahma saw that these beautiful daughters of Kadamba Muni, and also he had 9 sons of his own, or sometimes known as the Sapta Rishis or the 7 Rishis, depending on which Manvantara you're in or what age you're in, then there's either 7 or 9 Rishis. So Lord Brahma, when he saw the beautiful daughters of Kadamba Muni and Devahuti, he came to see them personally, and he was asking them, this is wonderful news, you've got 9 beautiful daughters. Why don't you get them married to the 9 rishis, who I'll mention in the next verse? And the reason behind that is that Lord Brahma was very keen on continuing on the progeny of the material world. He wanted to establish that hierarchy of religious leaders, ensuring that the religious principles, Dharma, was followed throughout the historical time of the creation itself. And the only way to do that is this: when there's godly persons marrying godly personalities, when you have a combined relationship, then certainly there will always be harmony, peace, prosperity in a spiritual way. And the idea was that to create a principle in the material world, so the descendants of that particular dynasty could also follow in the same principles as bestowed by all the originators or progenitors of that material world. Text 15. Atastvam rishi mokebhyo yata silam yata ruchi anmaja paridhyatya vistrinihi yasho bhuvi. Translation. Therefore today, please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages, with due regard for the girls' temperaments and likings, and thereby spread your fame all over the universe. Purport. 9 principal rishis or sages are Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Brigu, Vashishta, and Atharva. All these rishis are most important, and Brahma desired that the 9 daughters already born of Kadamba Muni be handed over to them. Here 2 words are used very significantly, Yata Silam and Yata Ruchi. The daughters should be handed over to their respective rishis, not blindly, but according to the combination of character and taste. That is the art of combining a man and a woman. Man and woman should not be united simply on the consideration of sex life. There are many considerations, especially character and taste. If the taste and character differ between the man and woman, then combination will be unhappy. Even about 40 years ago in Indian marriages, the taste and character of the boy and girl were first of all matched, and then they were allowed to marry. This was done under the direction of the respective parents. The parents used to astrologically determine the character and taste of the boy and girl. And when they corresponded, the match was selected. The girl and this boy are just suitable. They should be married. Other considerations were less important. The same system should be advised in the beginning of the creation by Brahma. Your daughters should be handed over to rishis according to their taste and character. According to astrological calculation, a person is classified according to whether it belongs to the godly or demonic quality. In that way, the spouse was selected. A girl of godly quality should be handed over to a boy of godly quality. girl of demonic quality should be handed over to a boy of demoniac quality, then they will be happy. But if the girl is demoniac and the boy is godly, then the combination is incompatible. They cannot be happy in such a marriage. At the present moment, because boys and girls are not married according to quality and character, most marriages are unhappy and there is divorce. It is foretold in the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that in this age of Kali, married life will be accepted on the consideration of sex only. When the boy and girl are pleased in sex, they get married. And there is deficiency in sex, they separate. That is not actual marriage, but a combination of man and women like cats and dogs. Therefore, the children produced in the modern age are not exactly human beings. Human beings must be twice born. A child is first born to a good father and mother, and then he is born again of the spiritual master and the Vedas. The first mother and father bring about his birth into the world, and then the spiritual master and the Vedas become a second father and mother. According to the Vedic systems of marriage for producing children, every man and woman was enlightened in spiritual knowledge. At that time of the combination to produce a child, everything was scrutinizingly and scientifically done. So there's a lot of information here that Srila Prabhupada's mentioned on this purpose just from this particular verse. Therefore, today, please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages, with due regards for the cults, temperaments, and likings, that might spread your fame all over the universe. First of all, he emphasizes on these two phrases, Yata Shalam and Yata Ruchi. So we look at the translation here, word for word. Yata Shalam, according to temperament, Yata Ruchi, according to taste. So each one of us are an individual. We have a certain personality, we have a certain temperament, we have a certain taste, certain desires, some likes, some dislikes. The combination is unlimited. I mean, you just have to see for yourself, all the things that you can see which are very nice to you and things which aren't nice to you. Things even like the color, the food that we eat, in likes and dislikes in what we read, who we meet, who we don't meet, the weather. There's so many combinations. It's it's an immeasurable. So when a boy and a girl meet each other, normally it's based on infatuation, a bit of attraction, boy-girl sort of relationship. That infatuation, of course, is actually amplifies your heart in such a way that nothing really matters in life. It doesn't really matter if it's rainy or sunny, if you've got money or no money, whether your parents agree or disagree, whether you're of the same class or caste system, or if you're of the same race or faith. There's many factors in love. It's because love is blind in a way, because there's that feeling that you have that nothing really matters in this world. I'm sure we've all felt that way in one way or another. That's the feeling that we should have for Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Absolutely no sort of desire for anything else, but just pure love, but not on a lusty level, of course. It's love based on devotional service to serving the Supreme Lord. When we serve the Supreme Lord in that way, that lust transforms into lust. The envy is removed. But in a boy-girl relationship, Papa mentions the way the 9 rishis are of very spiritual, like-minded personalities that will match the 9 daughters of Kadamba Muni and Devavati. So he sees them as specific matches for each other. But he also mentions that they should like and dislike or like each other to a certain level of temperament and taste as well. It's not that Lord Brahma is insisting that this particular rishi should marry this particular person or the age, based on age, seniority. Of course, that's important. But it's actually seen that they are compatible, and Srila Prabhupada emphasizes this quite a lot. The man and woman should not be united simply on the consideration of sex life or attraction, because that sex life is very temporary. Once that saturation of lust and that desire is fulfilled, then you don't get that sex life anymore, then you get bored in your relationship. And as you see within the spiritual world, you see a lot of people leaving their partners because they find somebody else, somebody perhaps more attractive, somebody that they can indulge with their own physical nature with them. But here, the respective relationship between a man and a woman is very important. The character has to match. The taste for um, the taste for what they like and dislike should be matching as well. Of course, it won't be 100% compatible, but they also use astrological charts, astrology, some professionals to actually conduct if they are suitable for each other. And that is very important as well. I have to admit, I don't know much about astrology. I got my astrology done when I got married, and there were more or less compatibility. But it's not to say everybody's life is going to be compatible, even if their charts are saying 100%. Each individual has his own unique personality, and they are also do have certain activities in their own life. They could decide to choose something which is favorable or do something which is unfavorable. So we have a conscious, we have a sort of own sort of intelligence that we can ensure that we are always serving and loving and respecting our partners in whatever way possible. Sometimes we try to compare ourselves with other families or other partners. They have more happier, they have more money, they have better car, better facility, they're more popular. You have to take away those sort of limitations. You've got to take away those certain indirect sort of titles that may not be the same for each person. Each partner may be different. We can't always be Bollywood or Hollywood stars. I mean, even if their marriages are together, who knows what goes on behind the scenes. But for us, our relationship is based on marriages from a spiritual perspective, that we both have that desire to serve the Supreme Lord. We both have that desire to serve each other, of course, and have procreation, having and raising Krishna conscious children, having a family in a Krishna conscious environment, serving the devotees, serving Radha Krishna, serving our parents, family, children, brothers, sisters. There's so many considerations in our life, even within the devotee community. Unfortunately, you see in ISKCON, a lot of divorces happen. Sometimes it may be a lot of conflicts within each other's personality. Perhaps one person wants to do one particular duty and another person wants to do something else. One person wants something in their life that they can't get because somebody else has it, and then they want to compare. That we shouldn't do that at all. We should actually also consider respecting our parents as well. Sometimes in our life, the parents may say, no, you're not right for this particular person. But you also have to give assurance to your parents. If you feel that they're wrong, why are they wrong? Do you feel that this person that you want to marry or to spend your life with for the rest of your life, most of us who are listening on this call are married, perhaps. You probably have your own sort of reflections on your marriage life, all the ups and downs that you went through, what considerations you've had in your own personality, what good things you see in yourself, what certain things that you don't see good in your partner, where you could improve, where the other person could improve, so many things. And as a parent, the last thing you want to do is give away your beautiful daughter and your beautiful child to somebody who may not be nowhere near the person that you would like as a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law. Yes, they may be very wealthy. Yes, they may be very handsome, beautiful, attractive. But compatibility is also based on the respectful person of their character and their quality as well. That is really important. It's not just like a status of wealth symbol or a family prestige or royal sort of a status. That sort of relationship is based on character, which is so important. But at the same time, we understand that, when we see social media, people are sort of behaving one way at the temple, and when you see them posting certain things on the on whatever you call it, Facebook, social media, you think, gosh, they're using certain words that you wouldn't actually hear certain devotees speak like that in a certain way, and you think twice about the character. Of course, we shouldn't be judgmental. We had a wonderful talk last week with His Holiness. I'm always forgetting his name, Prachur Bihari Swami. But anyway, Bhakta Prachur Swami. Anyway, he was mentioning something quite nice. I don't have the notes with me. Anyway, sometimes we look at different people. At a certain level, we see always the worst in other people. And so on the next level down or next level up is somebody who sees just good and bad in certain people, but they focus on the bad. And the third position is people see good and bad, but they try and see the best out of them. Second level is also like seeing good and bad, but they mainly look and reflect on the good things that what people do. So even though they may have been doing bad things, but we try and focus on the good things that they do. And the first class person is somebody who always sees good in everyone, regardless of their personality, regardless of their behavior. But of course, we're not Paramahamsas, we're not that self-realized stage. We certainly try and do our best to see the best out of others. And if you are a father or a mother, you will want to see the best of your respective person, but you also have to discriminate. Is this boy or girl right for my daughter? What I've gone through in my married life, would I like to see the same thing going through that person? Would I always like to see the happiness in my daughter, see the happiness in my son? So that's why it's so important to have astrological charts done, have some sort of level of compatibility where they stay together for a short while, make sure that they love each other, are caring to each other, show affection, they support each other, they have the same interests. They're also very accommodating in their spiritual journey, not wanting to compete with each other, which is important, but helping and supporting others as well at the same time. So these considerations are very important. Of course, these 9 wishes are well beyond our sort of understanding. They are Paramahamsas, and of course, Lord Brahma, he can see the past, present, and future. He knows exactly who their respective partners would be, from the 9 daughters to the 9 respective rishis as well. So it's important to understand marriage isn't just like, like as I say, a pet isn't just for Christmas, it's for life. So marriage is for life as well. And Prabhupada also mentions that there may be discrepancies, if the husband's not very nice to the wife could live separately, but they shouldn't be divorced. But unfortunately, in this modern life, because we have our own sort of level of independence, we have to ensure that we overcome insecurity. We're not dependent on somebody who's not very nice to us. It's better that you sort of move on in your journey. Of course, from spiritual Vedic perspective, it's better to stay on, get spiritual guidance, spiritual help, somebody who's a mentor, somebody who's been married for many years, who can give you support, guidance in so many ways. At the same time, there's a family, one of the richest family in the UK. They're of a Hindu family. They're also very favorable to ISKCON temple and also philanthropical work for many activities. And their son wanted to get married, who was not from a Hindu tradition, and the parents were very, very much against it. And this caused a depression for the boy, the son, and he committed suicide. And it's very sad to see that. So you have to also understand, what are the son's feelings, what are the daughter's feelings. You certainly don't want to see your son and daughter going through that stressful time just because they've been rejected in marrying the partner they want. Of course, we have to be diplomatic as well. Who are they marrying? What sort of caste are they? Are they going to be influential, or are they just after your money, or are they going to be helpful? Are they sort of family orientated, or are they very sort of how do you call it? Or rather, not family orientated, where somebody wants to just take away your son or daughter away just so they can be with them rather than integrate with the family. I hope you understand what I mean anyway. Okay. So more or less covered that. So anyway, I was just briefly looking, the quality of husband and family relationship is very important. So although you may be married to somebody who's a Hindu, I've known many families within ISKCON where the partners are married to other partners, partly because it's very difficult to find somebody who's completely vegetarian, is following the 4 regulated principles, charging 16 rounds. And for girls, sometimes it's even harder to find the right partner because nowadays a lot of men are very much indulging in intoxication and meat eating, so forth. And even the new generation of Indians who come to this country, sometimes it's quite surprising to have a picture of Shiva or Ganesh on the altar, on their office desk. When you see them at the canteen or somewhere, they're eating something which is not favorable in what we're supposed to prevent from eating. So I was just looking at statistics to see what sort of divorce rate there is amongst the different kind of faiths. I'm not obviously saying our faith or one faith is better than the other, but it just shows you like a level of family tradition that one must show respect to the parents, respect to the elders, listening to the spiritual master, authorities as well, which is really important. When you see the Bollywood movies, you always see that family conflict where the boy and girl loves each other, and the parents are very much against it because the boy is rich or the girl is rich, and the boy is of a completely different caste, lower class, higher class, so forth. So it's quite interesting to see the divorce rate among different religions. Hinduism is like 5%, and then it goes on. And I was surprised even within the Muslim community, are very strict, devout followers. It raises from 8 to 31%. Of course, that depends on the study. Perhaps it's to do with the geographical locations, where they live, that perhaps the legal sort of requirements if they're allowed to divorce or not divorce. Whereas in some countries, it's forbidden for a woman to divorce her husband. And then I was really surprised that even amongst the Christian community, Catholic, 19%, born-again Christians, 33%, and Protestant, 51%. So it seems to be quite high. So these are people of a particular faith. And he also mentions that sometimes people who may have no faith at all, which was very surprising, 2% ever divorced in one of the study, where people weren't of any particular faith. Maybe that perhaps is the reason for people, they don't have any conflicts of any superiority, who's right and who's wrong, which family is right or which family is right. They just depend on each other's needs, supporting one another. Their love and compatibility is based on not only religious principles, but just on faith within the partners itself. But of course, the important thing is also to understand that sometimes there may be people who are maybe very faithful as well, and the divorce rates are lower than those who may consider to be faithful, but they don't really have any defined sort of level of devotion. They may be just considered affiliated to a Christian, Muslim, or Hindu itself. Anyway, just thought I'd share this with you. But the idea is that we should try and avoid any sort of divorces, but at the same time, if you're having your children married or you're getting married yourself, try and look for compatibility in your life. That way, at least you'll be happy. There's nobody in this world who wants to be unhappy at all. We just want to be serving the Supreme Lord in a way that is beneficial, not just for us, our family, our children, and everybody related to us. Okay. Also, just briefly mention on the other Papa by Srila Prabhupada, he mentions that a godly person should marry a godly family as well, and a demonic family should marry somebody from a demonic family. And that's quite important. As I mentioned earlier on, sometimes we may be inclined to see somebody because of their status, their prestige, their sort of qualifications, perhaps as a doctor or high earning personality, but they may be eating meat or so forth, or not very religiously minded. So it's better that there is some sort of compromise in the relationship that you have with another person, and also encouraging them in a way that may not be so favorable at the beginning. Like, for instance, there's many newcomers who come to the temple, and they may be very much interested in Krishna consciousness, the Westerners, but their partners aren't so fully dedicated. But slowly, you'll be surprised by giving prasadam, by giving sort of Krishna, praying to the Lord for their mercy, for their sort of divine intervention. How the Lord changes the hearts of anybody, because the Supreme Lord is in the heart of every living entity. So this is text 16. Vedaham adayam purusham avatiram swamayaya bhutana sivadim deham vihiranam kapilam munim. Translation of Kadama. I know that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead has now appeared as an incarnation by its internal energy, is the bestower of all that is desired by the living entities. It is now assumed the body of Kapila Muni. In this verse, we find the words Purusham, Avatir Nam Svamayaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is everlastingly, eternally the form of Purusha, the predominator enjoyer, and when he appears, he never accepts anything of the material energy. The spiritual world is a manifestation of his personal internal potency, whereas the material world is a manifestation of his material or differentiated energy. The word Svamayaya, by its own internal potency, indicates that whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, it comes in its own energy. It may assume the body of a human being, but that body is not material. In Bhagavad Gita, it is therefore clearly stated that only fools and rascals, Mudas, consider the body of Krishna to be the body of a common human being. The words Sevadim means that he is the original bestower of all the necessities of life upon the living entities. In the Vedas, also it is stated that he is the chief living entity and he bestows all the desired necessities for the living entities. Because he is the bestower of all necessities of all others, he is called God. The Supreme is also a living entity. He is not impersonal. As we are individual, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also individual. But he is a supreme individual. That is the difference between God and the ordinary living entities. So here there's quite a lot. Srila Prabhupada explains. The first thing Prabhupada mentions, Purusha Mavatir Nam Svamayaya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is everlastingly, eternally the form of Purusha, the predominator, enjoyer. So anything that emanates from the Supreme Lord is obviously spiritual, even the material energy, although we see it visually because of our material eyes, we see it as material energy, but because it's emanated from the Supreme Lord, it's still considered spiritual. But at the same time, its internal potency, its Purusha form, is actually the expansion of the spiritual world. It's also known as the Ladini Shakti, its internal energy. Then what is known as the external energy, that is the material world, or Prakriti. This is the material world that we're living in, this material planets, the 7 upper planets, 7 lower planets. But what it is, at the same time, there is the third element of the Supreme Lord, which is called the marginal energy. The marginal energy is the living entities. The living entities, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, we have our own individual identity, just like the Supreme Lord does. But he is a supreme individual, as well as we are just part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is a combination of all the living entities together within himself, as well as the external manifestation and the spiritual manifestation. But as living entities, we may have the qualities of the Supreme Lord, but in the quantity level is very minute, as I've mentioned quite a few times. Like if you compare a drop of water to a mighty ocean, the qualities of that water, that drop of water, may have all the mineral and chemical composition of the ocean, but it's so insignificant, it's of a minute level, just like a grain of sand in the mighty Sahara Desert. You cannot actually compare the tiny granule of sand to the mighty Sahara Desert. But that Supreme Lord, he also descends in the form of a human being. And we're very fortunate because the Supreme Lord incarnates in many avatars. As we know from the 10 avatars, he comes as Matsya, the form of a fish. He comes as Kurma, the form of a boar. Then Varaha, the form of a boar. Kurma was the form of a tortoise. Varaha is the form of a boar. And then you go on to like Alunashigadev, half man, half lion, Vamandev as a dwarf. And then you have Parashuram, who's a Brahmana. Then you have Lord Ramachandra, as a Kshatriya. And Krishna, you could consider to be a Vaishya as well, because he was tending and looking after the cows. And then you go on to have Lord Buddha, and then, of course, Kalki. So even though his forms are transcendental, he could appear in the form of a human being. Just like when he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he came as an ordinary human being. And Ravana, when he was performing tapasya, performing penance for thousands of years, and caused the whole earth to shake, the whole planetary system to go out of orbit. Lord Brahma sort of granted him a benediction, a boon, and he wanted to become immortal. He didn't want to be defeated by any devas, or any demons, rakshasas, so forth. But he neglected the fact that he didn't care for the humans or the monkeys. He felt that they were very insignificant. He felt that he was too powerful and too proud to even consider them to be anywhere near to challenge him in any way. If the demigods were afraid of him, in fact, if you read the Ramayana, he was causing some of the devas to be his personal cooks, his personal servants. Some of them he actually even used as doormats, or even like steps to his altars. Can you imagine how much pride and envy and ego Lord Ravana had towards the devas? But somehow another Lord, the Supreme Lord, by his mystic potency, as Lord Ramachandra, in the form of a human being, he vanquished Ravana, the 10-headed demon. And that verse that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, where it mentions that only fools and rascals, murderers, consider the body of Krishna to be the body of a common human being. Does anybody know what verse that is, by any chance? Or the translation? Okay, it's chapter 9, verse 11. Does that ring a bell to anybody? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, verse 11. Avajanante mamuda manusim tanumastritam param bhava majananto mahama bhuta maheshvaram. Translation: Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord. Will that be? So even though he may come in a human form, like I mentioned, Lord Ramachandra, the fools, they do not understand who he is. They do not see his transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord, the proprietor, the creator, the maintainer of all the cosmic manifestation, both internal, marginal, and external energy. Due to time, I was going to share something else, but because we don't, if you do get a chance to read this is from His Grace Chaitanya Prabhu. Is such a wonderful personality, very good speaker, and I just came across this particular web page from his website, The Descendants of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. It's very nice. It actually explains about the 9 Shapta Rishis, or 9 Rishis, and the 9 Rishis were, as we mentioned, Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulatstya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, and Atharva. And here it gives you some historical background to the daughters of Kardama Muni and Devahuti that they married, and their descendants as well. So it's quite interesting as well. For instance, here it mentions about Kala and Marichi. They gave birth to 2 children, named Kashyapa and Purnima, but it's not the same Kashyapa from Diti and Aditi, but it's a different Kashyapa. And Anushuya married Atri Muni. Shraddha, she married Angira. Haviburu, she married Pulatstya. Gati married Pulaha. Kriya married Kratu. Urja, or Arundhati, she married Vashishta. Vashishta, as you know, actually no, it's not the same Vashishta, which was cursed by Lord Shiva. Then you have Chitti, who married Artava. Kyati married Bhrigu. And Bhrigu is also the son of Lord Brahma. So here it's really quite nice. If you do get a chance to read it, it's from the Mysteries of the Vedas. Just type in 9 Shapta Rishis, 9 sages, and I'll give you that particular description. So thank you very much for listening. Please forgive me for any mistakes. There were some other points I wanted to mention now, but we're just running out of time. Now I'll pass it on to Namrata Mataji. And Namrata Mataji, if you could take over, I'll stop sharing. Also, if I could be excused, I'll be going to India very shortly, in a couple of days' time, few days' time. So I may not see all of you for the next few weeks. So kindly praying for your blessings So I could see the wonderful places like Varanasi, Prayag, Ayodhya, Vrindavan, and Dwarka. May that spiritual journey be an enlightened one and allow me to share any punya I received to share with all of you as well. Thank you very much. Vanchakapa, Tarusha, Kipasindubhyevacha, Patitana Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, thank you so much for a wonderful class and enjoy your journey to India. Hari Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So for today's bhajan, we have our dear Hema Mataji, who will be singing a beautiful bhajan, Vibhavari Shesha. Before she sings the bhajan, we have Shailesh Prabhuji, who will be doing the English translation. So when you're ready, Shailesh Prabhuji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Namrata Mataji. So today we're going to sing the bhajan called Vibhavari Shesha. It's written by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and it forms the Mangal Aarti in Vrindavan. So it's a very beautiful bhajan. It takes you back to Vrindavan for sure. So yes, Prabhu will read the translation now. Thank you.
The night has come to an end, and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva soul, arise and give up your sleep. Chant the holy names of Lord Hari, who is the giver of liberation, the enemy of the Mura demon, the supreme enjoyer, the all-attractive one, and the horse-headed incarnation Hayagriva. Verse 2. Lord Hari, Krishna, incarnated as the half-man, half-lion Nrsimha. He appeared as a dwarf Brahmana named Upendra and is the killer of the Madhu demon. He is the beloved son of the king of Braja, Nanda Maharaj, and is blackish in complexion. He is the slayer of the Putna witch and the destroyer of the demon Kaitaba. All glories to Lord Hari, who appeared as Lord Ram, the son of King Dashrath. He is the darling of Mother Yashoda, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, and the protector of cows. He is the Lord of Vrindavan forest, the gopis' beloved, the lover of Radhika, and the most beautiful personality in all the worlds. As Ramachandra, he brought about the end of the demoniac king Ravana. As Krishna, he stole the older gopis' butter. He stole the younger gopis' clothes while they were bathing in the Yamuna. He is the cowherd boy of Raja and the protector of the cowherd boys. He steals the hearts of all and always holds a flute. Lord Krishna is worshipped by the best of yogis and is the son of Nanda. He removes all the fears of inhabitants of Raj. He is the color of fresh rain cloud, and his form is enchanting. When he wanders about, playing his flute, he looks very charming. He is the son of Yashoda and the killer of King Kamsa, and he sports in the rasa dance among the groves of Raj. Krishna engages in this rasa dance underneath the Kadamba trees, and he resides in the forest of Vrindavan. He increases the ecstasy of his devotees. He is the reservoir of all love and is the transcendental Cupid who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis. He is the pleasure of the gopis' hearts and the abode of all wonderful qualities. Lord Krishna is the life of the river Yamuna. He is always absorbed in amorous pastimes, and he is the moon of the gopis' mind, which are like the chakora birds that subsist only upon moonlight. O mind, obey these words of mine and sing the glories of Sri Krishna in the form of these holy names, which are full of nectarian mellows.
Okay.
विभावरी शेष आलोक प्रवेश निन्द्राचरी उतो जीवा बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा नरसिंहवामन श्रीमधुसूदन ब्रजेन्द्रनन्दन श्यामा पूतनघातना कैतवशतना जय दशरथी रामा यशोदधूलाला गोविन्द गोपाला वृन्दावन पुरन्दारा गोपीप्रिया जन राधिका रमण भुवन सुन्दर पारा रावण तखारा मखन तस्करा गोपी जना वस्त्र हारी ब्रजेर राखला गोपा वृंदापल चीतहरी बंसीधारी योगेन्द्र बंदना श्रीनंदनंदना ब्रज जना भयहारी नवीन नीरदा रूपा मनोहर मोहन बंसी बिहारी यशोदानंदना कंसनी सूदना निकुंज रास विलासी कदंब कानना रास परायण बृंदा विपिन निवासी आनंद वर्धना प्रेम निकेतना फूला सराजो कामा गोपागण गण चित विनोदना समस्त गुण गणधामा यमुना जीवन केली परायण मानस चंद्र चकोरा नाम सुधारस गावो कृष्णा जस राखो वचन मन मोरा विभावरी शेष आलोक प्रवेश निन्द्राचरी उठो जीवा बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय हरे कृष्णा थैंक यू डियर डिवोटीज
Hare Krishna Mataji, beautiful singing. Oh, glories to your service. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful recitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think Prabhuji has left. We'll finish with our Vancha Kalputarupyasya, if that's okay. Vancha Kalputarupyasya, Krupa Sindhubheva cha Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare